хорошо.
Всем привет, друзья! Меня зовут Селиван, с вами канал Сильван Гейм. И сегодня мы играем в Stanley Parable 2. В прошлый раз мы остановились на том, что не слушались. Мы не слушались рассказчика, мы шли в правую дверь. Мы смотрели, какие там вообще концовки есть. Попробуем сейчас, наверное, не взять телефон, почему бы и нет. И посмотрим, что из этого выйдет. Да, конечно, я тут 1000 раз ходил уже. Ой, какая комната хорошая. Ой, какая замечательная дверь, но мы туда не пойдем. Да, вообще отвратительно, прям прям гадость, кака. А мы еще кое-что не пробовали.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Ладно, хорошо. На самом деле можно обрезать просто все до того момента, я, наверное, так и сделаю. Хоба, и мы снова здесь. Мы снова на лифте, на подъемнике грузовом. И нас везут к телефону.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Давай сюда телефон.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Да нет там девушки, ты ж мне только что все рассказывал. Давай свои какости-пакости. Я не буду брать телефон. Не хочу. Ну, короче, понятно. Короче, нельзя не брать телефон, можно только выдернуть.
As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No,
вот
that's not
сейчас не хватает кнопки пропустить. Потому что он очень долго пиздит. И нельзя просто пробежать сквозь дверь и скипнуть диалог.
This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
А я скипнуть его могу?
Choice. It's the best
Ну не хочу.
part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, In this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Подожди. Я почти залез. Не знаю зачем, но я почти залез. Ладно, пойдем дальше. Хочешь, пойдем дальше. Заборчик мне поставил, давай. Поехали.
Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Пойдем, пойдем, пойдем. Сюда нельзя.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Да, пожалуйста. Давайте, погнали. Там, блин, выглядит так, будто можно залезть. Как-то.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Закрыто, замуровано.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Замуровано. Закрыто. Ну опять долго, ясно, бла-бла-бла. Какой замечательный зеленый кабинет. Поле, дорога. Как этим наслаждаться?
Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath.
Но тут нет говорить.
and then spoke the code.
Nightchuck 115.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall. You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the
Давайте
code
в комп
into the
поиграем,
receiver.
что ли?
Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Ничего смотреть нельзя.
Okay, fine, you're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself.
Ты не включил в свою игру возможность speak.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Чё ты хочешь от меня?
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Да поздно. Вон пиздец тотальный. Пам-пара-па-па-пара-па-па-парам. Вот, и тут выглядит так, будто тут можно залезть.
My story. You've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do?
Как залезть ты?
No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Ну не. Ну я туда, ну бля. Я хочу туда попасть. Но как это сделать? Если знаете, пишите в комментариях, я потому что пока не понимаю. У меня не получается туда пройти.
Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground.
Да,
What, did you
подумаешь.
think that would be funny? You just had to see.
Сейчас восстановишь.
Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
Конечно.
Oh, my story.
Ой, бедный сюжет.
If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please.
Ну дайте ты, блядь, сам ты зент. Сиквел на паузе. Дайте пролезть. Дайте дырдочку. Дайте дырочку. Я залезу, блядь. Да. Да. Ну и... Да, я в него вселюсь, я в него впрыгну с двух ног. Да жди.
I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Давай. Так, все, туда мы больше не идем. Это долго, это нудно, это неинтересно. Так. Какие концовки мы еще не смотрели? Мы не Не, с ведром мы туда не пойдем. В пизду. В следующий раз. А мы на лифте спускались. Тоже в следующий раз посмотрим. Я перепроверю по сериям, спускались ли мы на лифте, и тогда уже... Ничего не понял. Как мы можем их найти? Давайте, презентация. Bottom текст. Давай. Что мы знаем? Маленькие летающие объекты появились по всему офису. Мы должны... Агенда. В толкане нашли. Кто их сфоткал? Красная комната. Ну, короче, понял я, что нихуя не понял. Ну-ка.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Да, мы смотрели это долго, поэтому не будем этим заниматься.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Да. Наверх. В офис боссис. Бьебосис. Ты активировалась? Нет. Вот сюда мы не ходили. Давай сюда сходим. Ну-ка. Ту-ду-ду. Погнали. Погнали сюда. Ту-ду. В лифтах всегда такая убаюкивающая музыка. Куда мы едем-то? В полной тишине практически. Мы едем вообще? Спасибо, спасибо. Спасибо, что подвезли.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him.
Какой код был, я
And
не
so the
помню.
boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
2,
But of course,
8,
Stanley
4,
couldn't
5.
possibly have known this.
2, 8, 4, 5. Запоминаем.
Incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Да, все, и сюда... Некуда сюда идти. Погнали, собственно, вниз. Там, кстати, был вариант Escape еще. И там можно было нажать либо...
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
Как его
It was a
называют?
stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself. To
Либо
question the
активировать
nature of his job. Why did he
машину
feel
по контролю
this now,
разуму, либо
when
ее
for years
выключить.
it
Мы
had
в прошлый
never
раз
occurred to him?
выключили, правда, с
This
ведром.
question would not go unanswered for long.
Но там бы ничего не поменялось, там бы просто мы вышли...
Stanley walked straight
С
ahead
ведром.
through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Давай сюда сходим. Мне интересно, что
Although
здесь.
this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
А хотя давай, ладно. Давай Violent Death. Пиздёж, скорее всего.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Знаю.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
На самом деле страшный коридор. Ощущение, будто по нему нужно от кого-то убегать. Я уже запутался, в какую сторону. В эту. В эту сторону я иду. Так, и чё там? Полетели. Все прекрасно. Чё, Half-Life пошел?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal
Чего?
jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Какой женский У меня много вопросов.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Я откуда знаю этот ебанутый? Он, блядь, игру из ведер сделал. Которая разваливается, если
When every
телефон
path
из
you can walk
розетки
has been
выдернуть.
created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
План офиса. Хорошо. То есть вот я здесь проходил. Шел сюда. Здесь что-то активировал. Шел сюда. Тут вранье можно было пройти. И дальше 2 двери. Так. Дальше коридор. Ну, правильно, да, шкафчик с бумагами. Офисные компьютеры. Титры. Звуки кнопок. Half-Life. Мне напомнило Half-Life. Офис. Так, хорошо. Там я был. Там я был. Служебная комната. Ранняя версия служебной комнаты. Так. Тут чего? Ультра Deluxe. Вот это я еще не видел. И это я еще не видел. Интересно. Поле битвы. Чего? На ранней стадии разработки мы сделали концовку, в которой Стэнли сражался с пришельцами. Игра обретала разум и начинала сражаться с рассказчиком. Но мы довольно быстро поняли, что эта концовка слишком фарсовая и выбивается из общей атмосферы игры. К тому же некоторые посчитали, что мы издеваемся над любителями шутеров, а мы этого не хотели. Бляха, вы издеваетесь над всеми, блядь, в первую очередь над игроком, если честно. Что это? Выкатив второй трейлер, мы попросили игроков отправить рассказчику их вопросы. Мы хотели использовать их для продвижения, но так и не придумали, как именно. Вот некоторые из этих писем. Прикольно. Не, на самом деле прикольно, что в игре есть такая пасхалка. Музей самой игры. Таймер в квартире. В прошлой версии концовки в квартире таймер давал игроку 15 секунд, чтобы взять трубку. Если игрок не брал ее за это время, то получал другую. То есть 15 секунд нужно было просто подождать. Хорошо, видимо, пойдем в комнату с телефоном опять. Так. Угу. Тут что это вообще? Понятно. Дальше идем. Что это? Переговорная. Переговорная. Вариант 1. Одна опция. Вторая. Вентиляция. Серьезно? Это что такое? Модель дзен-концовки. Дзен-концовка потерпела немало изменений. В этой комнате представлена 4-я версия концовки. Мы думали, что закончили с ней, но незадолго до релиза решили частично вырезать и частично изменить. Какая нахрен дзен-концовка? Я такую не видел. На скриншоте представлена ранняя версия так называемой дзен-концовки, которую в итоге порезали и объединили с другой частью игры. У нас долгое время была концовка, которую можно было получить, запустив игру из меню паузы. К сожалению, очень мало игроков понимали, что надо было сделать, и это всех расстраивало. Стол, обратный отсчет. Понял. Концовка свобода. Это комната обратный отсчет. Не знаю, что за обратный отсчет. Не, выход мне не надо, я только пришел. Я только осматриваюсь, я еще не все посмотрел. Набросок игрового дизайна. Этот уровень, который Уильям, дизайнер уровня, отправил Дэйви, сценаристу, как тестовое задание. Уровень был такой крутой, что Уильяма наняли работать над всей игрой. Многие элементы окружения изменились, но базовые принципы из этого наброска применяются до сих пор. Хорошо. Хорошо, идем дальше. Это варианты. Кабинет Стэнли. Слева направо представлены разные варианты кабинета Стэнли. Первый был создан в ноябре, второй в марте, третий в феврале. Так, хорошо. Это мы были. Это мы видели. Это ксерокс. Я будто бы вот оттуда пришел, а может быть и нет. Чё тут? Тут ни хрена, да? Ладно. Но комната с пасхалками с такими, это интересно. Это что? Картины природы. На-на-на-на-на-на. Кабинет начальника. Разные версии кабинета начальника. Но сейчас вот средняя. А тут чего? Подземная часть, хорошо. Дубли рассказчика. Примерно трижды записал реплики для всей игры за 2 года разработки. Это отрывки из разных дублей, которые не вошли в финальную версию. Любопытно. Так, пришлось чуть-чуть отвлечься. Кот спрыгнул со шкафа. Так, что тут еще есть? Пам-пам-пам-пам-пам. Да вроде все обошли, пойдем отсюда.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Выключить игру? Серьезно? Хоба.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Давай попробуем. Внезапно.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Сука, и здесь ведро.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
Плюнул
memo.
чуть-чуть. Так, давай ведро.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Давай с ведром. Давно мы с ведром не ходили.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Давай в правую.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Да,
But
да.
Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
А я ведь в теории могу в эту комнату с пасхалками войти с ведром.
Said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Не, есть быстрый способ.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Понятно.
All of his
А
co-workers...
если я начну игру заново, там будет что-то новое? Что происходит?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Шушуть осталось. Чё за хаос? Чё за хаос и разрушение? Не, ну вариант с заколотым ведром мне понравился. Это было необычно.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door.
Да,
on
давай
his
в
left.
левую, да, давай. Я не знаю, просто что тут еще остается-то. Мне говорят, что-то с лестницей сделать. Поиски последнего. Это Стёп по-любому. Тут нет.
Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Да, пожалуйста, пойдем.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Во!
And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Отлично. Туда я не пойду. Концовка сумасшедшего мне не особо как-то зашла. Хотя было забавно. Два 8. Сейчас, подождите. Так, я снова здесь. Хотел просто код от комнаты босса освежить в памяти. Потому что вроде как была интересная реплика на это дело. Эть.
Stepping in.
А я сломал игру. А я сломал игру. Да я нашел их уже, чё вы мне тут? А я игру сломал. Да, она и сама немного сломалась. Что это за листья? Где это я? Вы уходите. Куда я ухожу? Я ухожу красиво. А чё такая страшная лестница-то? Из цепи началось? Так там спускаться надо было, тут подниматься. Ну, пока все закрыто. Прям все закрыто. 758. Закрыто. Ну, цифры меняются, значит мы идем куда-то. Если бы они оставались прежними, значит мы на месте топтались бы. Я думаю, в следующем видео лучше будет посмотреть какие-то инструкции к концовкам, чтобы найти и показать вам чего-то новое. Я-то хотел другое вообще сделать. А? Ни хрена не понял. Очень интересно.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figlets. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more
Пойдем, ладно, посмотрим, хорошо. Уговорил. Так, сейчас опять какая-то музыка песнопенная начнется. When Stanley found the collectibles. Так, это награды, это неинтересно.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Допустим. Допустим. Все? Вот так вот. Вот так вот просто.
And here was a second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the boss's bathroom. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
А почему их теперь 8 из 6?
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
Помню.
No. The red and blue door room was the fourth place you found a Figanli, not the third. Well, I guess perhaps I shouldn't be surprised. Memories like these are so precious and so cherished that they all just sort of blend together, don't they? You know what? If the red and blue door room feels like the third place you found a collectible, then who am I to go making judgments? Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figly in this pink room. Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
Какая странная комната. Ладно. Бери и беги. Там котяра терзает шкаф. Персик! Подождите. Я тут упаду. Нет, не упал.
This was the fifth mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly.
Да, я тоже помню.
In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Ой, сейчас авторские права полетят. Давай. Я статуэтку нашел. Я нашел статуэтку. Голубой фон. Ну вообще прекрасно. Все.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Так, что дальше? Еще одну статуэтку, да? Чтобы у меня их было в 2 раза больше, чем есть в игре. Подзаборная, подлестничная станция.
The final figurine, right here, under the stairs. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figly and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Прекрасно. С каких пор меня каким-то черным фоном... Что за приколы из матрицы?
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
Дурной, что ли? Зачем?
Okay, yes, that spot under the stairs. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more.
Давай. Теперь я собираю, а тебе хочется, да? Давай, пойдем.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Да, блять. Издеваешься? Спасибо.
Yes, I love that video. Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
Да, розовая комната, которой нигде не было, но мы здесь нашли.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Блин, не пускает. Ладно. Пойдем здесь.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figlarines. Oh, I want more memories,
Да иди ты!
Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Что было? Я откуда знаю? В этой игре уже все, по-моему, было.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
Ну, пойдем, больше воспоминаний.
Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Все, дальше
And
некуда.
before everything else, there was your
Да.
office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
Что ты там вспомнил?
Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Ну, я так понимаю, история будет не одна, поэтому ссылка на плейлист прохождения будет в описании под видео. Подписывайтесь на канал, жмакайте под видео, что жмакаться, пишите комментарии. Ну и увидимся с вами, ребята, в следующей серии. Всем удачи, всем пока. Не, ну мы еще соберем вот эту вот штуку. Что за... Я так понимаю, тут просто сидишь и тыркаешь кнопочки. Нажать их, как обычно, все в принципе невозможно. Да, вон они зажигаются обратно. Ну, вот такая концовка. Давайте еще раз. В принципе, я все сказал, что хотел. Всем удачи, всем пока.